only wants a wife and a son.
It's Christian from Gamereactor Germany. I'm in London with Michael de Plaeter, and we're talking about Shadow of Mordor. And the first thing, because I just played the game a minute ago, is I died so many times. Is that what you want people to experience?
Maybe not many, maybe just many. I mean, something we do want people to experience is that death opens up new opportunities. So because you're a wraith, because you resurrect, time moves forward, the world changes, your enemies change, and also the guy who killed you, he gets marked as a revenge target, and you can hunt him down and take your vengeance for that death. So, I mean, so often in games, death is that moment where you stop and you have to go back and you have to do what you just did, and we really didn't want that to happen. We want it to present new opportunities and to carry the game forward.
Yeah, I had the impression that the world is really, I mean, we don't know how big it is, and you didn't say anything specific about it. If you want so, I'll be glad if you do, but I had the impression it's a very big world that is breathing with a lot of life.
That's totally been our emphasis, is to really pay off on the idea, because it's next gen, of being a living world, that your enemies actually live and exist in this world. They have their jobs, they're going on patrols, you can find them, the wildlife is really alive, and then all the possible interactions of the wildlife versus your enemies, versus where you can find them, versus day and night, all the interactions they can have with each other, that, even if you come around the same corner 10 times, you're going to see something different potentially each time you come around there.
I even had the unpleasant event of a level 1 character killing me by chance, because I was just almost dead, and he got promoted up very high in the rankings. And this is something I haven't experienced before in a game, that actually the NPC characters just seem to be really a living part of the world.
Yeah, and really what we wanted to do is, so someone can go, there's no cannon fodder, someone can get in a lucky shot. Maybe he was just a random grunt in the world, but once he gets in there, he can start leveling up. You can meet him again and again. He could go all the way up to being a major boss in the game. He could become your arch enemy, your ultimate nemesis in one of the big fights towards the end of the game. And so if when players play, they'll be playing for many hours, but if they get 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of these totally unique villains that they've each developed a story with, I mean, you saw one example maybe in playing for an hour or so, but when you're playing for 10 hours or 12 hours or 20 hours, those relationships and those stories you can build up can be pretty amazing.
Can you give us a little idea of how the game world is set up? There is a hero, of course, Talion. Explain us a little about how his motivation, where he comes from, where he wants to go to.
Yep. So the story, it begins as a story of revenge. So Talion is one of the rangers who is assigned as one of the guardians of the Black Gates. And this is the period before Lord of the Rings, but after The Hobbit. So Sauron's been gone for 2,000 years. Gondor has been occupying Mordor, but their forces have slowly declined, and it's now down to this skeleton crew. And when Sauron is defeated and driven out of Dol Guldur at the end of The Hobbit, and he returns to Mordor, this garrison of rangers are massacred, and Talion is killed. But Sauron's return also awakens this other ancient spirit within Mordor. Very powerful spirit with a very ancient grudge against Sauron that we'll kind of reveal later. And that spirit chooses Talion to be its vessel, resurrects him, and then together they head into Mordor. So initially, really what Talion's looking for is peace. He's not someone, I think, who's ever encountered magic or anything this strange happen to him. He's completely lost to what's happened. So he wants to understand what's happened. He wants to rejoin his family, and he wants to pursue the guys who are responsible. But to do that, he needs to unravel the mystery of who this wraith is and what their motivations are. And then ultimately, the stakes keep going up, and we learn what Sauron's plans are, and they realise that if they don't stop him, then really all Middle-earth is doomed.
Looking from the outside, it must be quite a big task for you, especially developing a part of the world that hasn't really been seen before. How difficult is that, or how much a challenge is that, or a burden even?
Yeah, I mean, Mordor was really exciting because it does give us the best of both worlds. It's one of the most iconic and intense locations in Middle-earth, in Tolkien's work, but it's also one of the most unknown. So we really get the best of both worlds. Somewhere iconic that's exciting to explore, but somewhere that's unknown that we can show in a different way. So that was really exciting for us. It's good.
Is there like I mean, it's kind of hard. It's a hurtful question in a way, but some of the stuff looks pretty similar to games out there. There is things that look like Assassin's Creed. Is that something you're aware of, or is it even a good thing? Maybe.
I don't know. I think most games within the same genre are going to share similarities. I think really maybe what that says is that there aren't actually that many third-person open-world action games. I certainly can't think of any at our level that's a third-person open-world action game in a fantasy setting like ours. I think when people pick up and play the game, I think it's very unique in regard to the controls, in regard to the combat. I mean, if it has any similarities in the combat to anything, it's certainly going to be Arkham, which was very much a starting point and a reference for us. And then beyond that, I think, our world is alive in a very different way from anything else. Our Nemesis System is very different. So, I think we definitely are in the third-person open-world action genre. But then within that, I think we're really unique. We've got something different to anyone else.
Yeah, the Nemesis System is actually a good thing that you might want to explain to our viewers, because that's actually the part that is pretty different to anything else I have played.
Yeah. I mean, what we really wanted to double down on is, in an action game, so much of your interaction and your gameplay is around your enemies. So we didn't want to have cannon fodder. We didn't want to have boring bosses. That was really an area we wanted to double down and make them very diverse, very unique, and let players, create their own stories. So we have a procedural system where any enemy in the world can grow, can level up, and importantly, they can actually remember you as the player. So we have thousands upon thousands of lines of VO, and we have, very complex AI, so they remember and respond to exactly what's happened in your previous encounters. So you're really crafting your own epic boss fights that escalate through the course of the game. That means every two players are going to have a different experience. Anytime you replay the game, you're going to have a different experience. It means that even us developing the game are seeing new stuff all the time and every day. So, I mean, it's only part of the game. Of course, we've got all of the other components of the game, of the story that's unfolding, and of the side missions, and the exploration, and the wildlife, and the hunting, and all of those challenges. But I think it is the part that really does differentiate us and is unlike anything else people will have played before.
Also, there is a certain focus on making the weapons a character as well. How do you want to achieve that?
So we very much did want the weapons to be characters, like Glamdring is, Gandalf's sword. We wanted you to kind of carve your deeds onto the characters. We wanted your enemies to recognize your weapons and fear them and name them as well. So they'll, cry out in terror when they see them, like the Goblin King does when Thorin gets out his sword there and so on. But we also wanted to tie that back to the innovation and to the Nemesis system. So as you're killing these unique enemies, they're dropping loot, which are runes, which are going to vary depending on their level, which you can craft depending on how you actually defeat these guys. You can get more powerful, epic ones by setting yourself challenges and sending death threats against your enemies. And then so you're, slotting those onto the rune slots within each weapon. So although we have a sword, a dagger, a bow that you carry through the game, you can very much make them uniquely your own for every player.
Okay. Uniquely your own is also a good point. I played the game again on a PS4. It seems that everybody is using PS4s for showing the games, probably even developing. Is that your lead platform, even your personal favorite platform maybe?
I think so. We're very focused on the next-gen platforms, so we've very much got PS4 and Xbox One going in parallel, and they're very much kind of at parity as well, very close to each other. So, and then of course we have the PC version as well. But yeah, I love the PS4, love the Xbox One, so we're definitely very happy about both of those.
Okay. So no favorite?
No.
No. Okay. Is there like I know it's an inevitable question, but will the game be in the same resolution area on both consoles? Can you say anything about that already?
We're still working on it. We're still optimizing. One of the great things about this game is that we do have our own engine, so we have a really fantastic, dedicated engine team, which is how we're able to get so much detail. We're really confident on the frame rate being high. We can get so many enemies on screen, so much emergent gameplay. But yeah, we're still optimizing. But you know, the goal will be parity on the two next-gen ones.
Cool. Thank you.
And I buried them along with everyone I ever knew.